And good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me right here, Brighty on TV, every Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern. Well, we've seen the banking crisis, the contagion, the liquidity, bottlenecks, and all the reasonings for everything collapsing at seemingly the same time. Perhaps it's on a schedule versus being an organic run on banks. Well, I see on-roads and off-roads for crypto investment and cashing out of back into USD completely limited, with 5 crypto banks going down during this contagion in the last 2 to 3 weeks. I'm going to show you the blueprint today with the ISO 220022. That's anticipated for 7 different protocols and base layering, swaps, smart contracts, stablecoin issuance, and the full ecosystem in the belly of the beast with Quant, as well as Ripple, Net, and on-demand liquidity. This is supposedly going to take care of all the problems we have, but we'll see. I think it's a trap myself. Welcome back for the full hour here, Brighty on TV. David Dubine, I'm your host. Mini Ice Age Conversations. Trying to integrate a few different ideas today to give more depth and breadth to what we're about to experience in this banking crisis. This is in no way, means, or form anything that's organic. It seems to be on a timeline, along with the electromagnetic field changes that I talk about and the reduction of food availability across the planet. So I'm wondering, is it the food crisis that's causing the bank run, to use the bank run as an excuse to cover up for what would be organically and never-ending food price rises, just because the availability for us as a civilization to produce food is going to be limited by natural means? You can check out a few of the other videos I've done on that. So that's the base question to be asked during this program. I'm going to go all gas, no brakes on this one. I want you to sit back with a double espresso to relax, because by the time you're done with this, you'll go, what did I just watch? I want to watch that again. There's so much information contained. I was familiar with cryptocurrency, back 2016 or so, in the infancy of it. Ethereum was $5 and, Litecoin was $1, those kind of days. So Bitcoin was $900, that kind of era. So I was more interested in the tech, because I saw there was a huge amount of possibility to take us away from this entrapment of systems that we've been bogged down in for the last 150 years. And I was really on the hopeful side that there'd be so many developers out there that would get it, and we could start utilizing all of this immutable data that couldn't be changed, to record history itself, and for contracts and things that we could facilitate between ourselves and a decentralized economy. Well, that did move forward, but now it has been totally hijacked and usurped by this same power base that's on the planet from central banks, etc. So I wanted to start off here with the blueprint, if you will. So what you're looking at here are the integrations and base layerings, the behemoths of using Quant and Constellation to layer off for they call it Shinfin or Shinfin. And then we got TradeFinex, Algorand, protocols across Europe. We got IOTA, which is the Internet of Things, and why you're seeing so many 5G towers rolled out. Hashgraph, that is going to be what you consider like a qubit base layer on this to run everything else in scale from. Stellar is going to be near instant payment, and then Ripple is supposed to solve this liquidity crisis that we're currently experiencing. And by the way, TradeFinex is going to take over the bond market. So, the blueprints here where we're moving to, and I'm just going to start on the right side of the chart, because where it says JP Morgan Chase and Circle, remember Circle depegged from $1 to $1 with a stable coin during this event, and JP Morgan Chase stepped in with umpteen billions to stop the flow of capital out of the banks, and there's a huge deposits coming into the too big to fails. So, and now a quick word from Patriot Gold Group. Have you kept up with the big headlines so far this year? Bank of America says that gold should be a mainstay investment for the next 3 years. Big banks and billionaires agree on 2 things. We're heading toward a recession and investors need to buy gold. The Patriot Gold Group is introducing the 2023 Recession Protection No Fee for Life IRA. Mention ADAPT 2030, you're going to get the best in-class service from Patriots protecting Patriots. Patriot Gold Group has the No Fee for Life IRA, where your 401k or IRA can be in physical gold or silver on qualifying rollovers. That's 546-7020 to reach out for your free investor guide today. Keep in mind, Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs top-rated IRA gold dealer 6 years in a row. That's 888-546-7020. And now on with the video. Quick overlap here. We saw SVB collapse, but that was really pushing the rise of the CBDCs, the Central Bank Digital Currencies. So these banks are going to be deemed too dangerous to keep supply in, or keep depositors' funds in. It's going to have to go over to the government, and pretty much our entire national banking system has been nationalized this last week. So Moody's cutting almost all American banks down to negative, citing huge contagion risk of what is happening on the books there in terms of underwater assets, buying treasuries at 0 or 0.1%, even 0.5%, 1%. So back to JP Morgan, that's the reason I'm starting on the right side of the chart. They're going to put in $2 trillion of liquidity. Now, A, where are they going to get that much, or is it just backstops and pledges of what they have as assets on the books? But when you see BlackRock talking about this is the first domino to drop, and this is definitely not anywhere close to the end, their Aladdin software out there is buying up the world completely. So when BlackRock speaks, I do listen. And when they say this is the first drop in the ocean of a complete contagion and such ferocious and all-encompassing collapse that a new system will need to emerge from that, like the Phoenix of the Ashes in the 1989 Economist cover of the magazine. So Credit Suisse, all the rage last week, SVB goes down, Silvergate goes down, a huge amount of other crypto investment banks head down to the depths with Davy Jones' locker, never to be seen again. And then Swiss National Bank needs to bail out Credit Suisse, but at the same time, as you can see in the slide there, Swiss National Bank posts $143 billion loss in 2022. So where does it go from here? Our treasury is also trillions, I say trillions plural, underwater as well, holding securities and assets that they bought through the COVID era that have now gone negative. So it doesn't matter which country it is, they're all holding all negative instruments of what was supposed investment. So just, I use this chart in a video I did a couple days ago. So the Washington Mutual, WAMU, and the whole Enron and all these things that collapsed, Freddie Mae, Fannie Mac, that whole thing back in 2008 and 9. So you have to put it into perspective. Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, both crypto banks, by the way, eclipsed Washington Mutual, which was the largest failure in the 2008 crisis. So just two failures are bringing us to near equivalent of the entire 2008 financial collapse. Put that in perspective for a second. If Swiss National Bank can't cover and Credit Suisse goes down, and they're talking about problems with Royal Bank of Scotland and contagion across up in Canada now, and now we look at Bank of America, 113 billion of the exact same thing that happened to Silicon Valley Bank. All these bonds, all these T-bills, whatever they bought at very low interest rates are way underwater. They can't sell it because they'll take a realized loss on that. So what are they going to do? 113 billion. Again, Bank of America, too big to fail. Government has taken control of all of our banks in America, so there will be no more failures. See, that's key number one. Now comes the Fed coin. So, the bankrupt checkerboard over here, bingo. How many more can we slash off that list? It's going to be all of them at the end, in my opinion. There'll be some that'll be too big to fail, like JP Morgan, for example. But here's the thing that's going to drive it home. When the FDIC came in and took over Signature Bank, not Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank out of New York, another crypto on-road, off-road investment, take your investments, turn it back into dollars kind of bank. They said, whoever oversees the bank and the transference, there will be zero, no more crypto at all. No more crypto business. And that is what I'm seeing here play out, is the complete destruction of your ability as a citizen to get in on the crypto side of things for investments, not the corporates, which will be the ones that you'll have to pass through again to go, and it'll be another investment instrument after this collapse. So if we look at Silvergate and Voyager and Three Arrows Capital, those are the other three that round out the collapses of the crypto sphere. And then Germany just shut down the world's largest crypto. I wouldn't call it a launderer. It was a spinner, which allowed you anonymity to deposit coin of your choice. They would spin it through several transactions, send it back to you, and it was untraceable at that point. So any kind of blockchain, on-chain logistics, and anybody trying to trace back transactions for taxation would suddenly hit a brick wall on that. So that had to be closed down. So everywhere you look across the scape right now, there's no way for you to disguise your transactions anymore. They're called spinners, and Bitcoin spinner, whatever kind of spinner you're going to do with that. Just saying. Not that I ever used it. I just know about it. But SVB here, guess who's going to buy it? HSBC, which is down in Hong Kong. It's part of the new BRICS currency, and they're going to be one of the strongholds along with Singapore, with massive gold deposits to issue against for the new BRICS currency, dollars, or whatever that's termed as, BRICS. China as well with the gold. Now here's the thing that it really starts to get in. You'll start to see the ecosystem moving here. DNA will be your data, according to HSBC. So now we're getting into the track trace, biometrics, verified ID, digital ID thing here. They're already broadcasting it. So what are the chances that HSBC would take over a crypto bank and at the same time also be pushing for biometric ID and data? Gee, I wonder. So this one was just on the March 15th here a few days back. This is it. When I saw this, this is the reason I did the whole video. I was trying to explain it to my parents. So, this video is for my parents to explain it, because I was talking like a raving lunatic about all these interoperable and layering and scaling, and they're like, oh, okay, what? Just okay, things aren't going to be as stable as you thought they might be. A good time to maybe get some assets out, move it to metals, and we're going to see something like that. So the Federal Reserve launched its FedNow announcement. They're going to go live July 1st. Now, FedNow can also be termed as the Fed dollar. FedNow has created a digital wallet for every single American citizen, every single one. So when I say that, you could have your private wallet somewhere, or, you're going to have to deposit crypto into a wallet that is a secure number of you that hold the private key, although FedNow will hold the keys for you. But this is going to be a private account for you with just a digitized number for you, only you, and that Fed will deposit directly to that account. So the universal basic income and all these things talked about will go directly from the Fed straight into your FedNow account. At the same time, they're going to switch it. You're going to get a Fed coin, a Fed dollar. So the dollar that you're holding now will change form, but it will not change name. Now, the conversion rate when this happens is still unknown, but it'll be all banks participating. So far, there's 13,000 institutions in the United States that are participating in this FedNow swap. This thing goes live on July 1st, and I'll read you a little fine print here from the bottom. They're talking about certification in July. So there's going to be certain institutions, 11,000, that's a lot, out of the 13,000 are going to be in this pilot program. So for me, it sounds like it's going live. If you got 11,000 out of 13,000 participants going in on the first day to work on scalability, and here it is, operational readiness, and you have to have the validation to confirm your readiness, meaning able to scale to infinity and handle trillions of transactions through a myriad of blockchains interoperable through Quant, and that's going to be the central node that feeds it all. So ISO 20022. So this is what we're going to look at today. And I really find it so ironic going to the SWIFT website, which is how we normally transfer money around the planet, the SWIFT system. Ensure you're fully prepared by March of 2023. Wow, that was a hit to the head. You mean our banking collapse happens right now, and SWIFT was already telling everybody that's getting ready for 20022 ISO compliant cryptocurrencies to get ready for March. Wow, never would have saw that one coming. But anyway, the messaging is out there. They're ready to go live with this across the planet. So they put it as a universal messaging language. And you'll read the big print at the bottom. Major currencies will be operating with ISO before 2025. Now, see, this is a bait and switch too. People were bringing this up last year about the Fed coming into the Fed coin and the Fed now, and they're like, no, that is so far away. technology is not up to snuff. It's going to take us years and years and years and years and years, plural, before any of this tech is going to be, robust enough to bring it out to the general populace and scale to world application. And here we are 4 months later. They're ready. They lied, straight up lied about the tech and how deeply they had been working with this and how far along it truly is a mature technology ready to come global right now. All at the same time, this contagion of liquidity is happening. And Swift told you to get ready for it in March. Wow. So as we run through today, the ISO 222 compliant are Stellar, Hedera, which is Hashgraph, IOTA, Internet of Things. We got XDC, the Shinfin, Ripple, which is on-demand liquidity, Algorand, and then Quant. Again, Quant is going to be right at the center of the center for everything. So again, I'll bring you back the chart because I know, for me, took me hours and hours and hours to go through each of these and try to follow the daisy chains around. This is 2 days of research straight to get this one. So Constellation and Quant are going to be the two things that are going to hold it all together, the glue in the center. So let's just split off. We're going to go off to the right over here. Like I say, we're going to go with Shinfin, TradeFinex, Algorand, and the European protocols. So TradeFinex, how does this even move into being something that we should look at? Well, it's going to be the full open standard protocol for the globe for all trade and finance, all of it. It's going to run through here first. It's going to mitigate counterparty risk, and it will have financial instruments interoperable and liquid, which tails right back into RippleNet. And you can see how these start to interconnect quite quickly. Gee, what could you use this for if there's a banking contagion and liquidity dries up, do you think? And then TradeFinex, look, the originators are going to be the same players. It's just reshuffled for more control and faster in real time track and trace of purchases and flows and velocity of money across the planet. You got the credit rating agencies, the underwriters, the insurers, and they're all going to be with the digital regulated custodian. Again, there's no decentralization in this. It's 100% custodian. Again, just like the banks that we understand, that's why you're going to need your digital ID to participate in this. So non-bank funders, that would be maybe some VC capital out there, but I don't see you or me in there anywhere at all. This is just big player ecosystem things. Where is the possibility for us to exist? What, in the crack between the dashed line there? It's complete control. And they're going to create the new global bond standard. So the contagion right now is because of bonds and T-bills going underwater. Watch it. It's all going to get erased some way, shape, fashion, or form and reissued under this new faster single point failure backstops here, the efficient processes and the leverage of smart contracts. Well, you're going to create an entire new bond standard. You're going to need a new overnight lending rate. Oh, they already created that. It's called SOFR, S-O-F-O-R, or S-O-F-R, SOFR. So that's the replacement of the overnight lending rate. So everything's been switched over already. It's just now coming into play. And guess who's on with this empowering trade finance ecosystem? QuickBooks. Right down there at the bottom, Corda and Oracle. So any of you out in the corporate world, you understand QuickBooks and Oracle. They're all integrating this too, so you can get your smart contracts, and it's going to be trade finance digitization platforms. QuickBooks right in the center. But it's all going to revolve around these smart contract storage boxes. So what I mean by that is smart contract is, this is, again, I'll come down to Fed now and also personal, private, and corporate smart contracts. The smart contract is really just me and you agreeing on something. Maybe I'm a buyer, international buyer, and then you're a seller overseas. Well, you can program in that the deposit will be laid in, and as soon as whatever it loads on the port, then the next set of monies will be released. And you can do a step down for releaser of monies based on steps of action. And each time a step of action is completed, then it actuates and allows a certain amount of that total contract fund to be transferred to the seller. Well, it'll be the same thing. The Fed now, the Fed dollar, they can program in there. If you don't use your money in the first 60 days, it loses 50% of the value. Like, they can control the velocity of money just as much as you can control the your risk on a foreign seller. And this is what it's all about. Now, this Algorand is going to be the scale here. Algorand's a really important one because I had gone into this in the African Sahel, how they're going to be used as a stable coin with USDC, Algorand to be able to build out a new growth zone in North Africa and the Sahel as other areas on the planet go offline. But you're going to need the investment, and you're going to need to be able to pay workers from multi-nations using a single stable coin honored around the planet. That will be USDC. Tether, not so much. USDC is where it's going to go. So you're going to have to use these different apps, dApps, and DAGs to be able to create these smart contracts. They're called boxes. Come into that in a second. You can global, international, local, whatever. They're infinity to scale on this. There could be trillions of these at the end. And at the same time that you're going to scale up and write your own smart contracts for business facilitation of whatever movement of goods across the planet, you're going to be able to issue your own stable coin in that smart contract. And this is where it gets really interesting, because if you can issue your own stable coin, it means it needs to be backed by something in there to have the value of it behind it to issue that. So what if you put one Bitcoin in there, you'd have $25,000. So your stable coin could be 25,000 units of one, and you could give it its own name. And then payment parties between that business transaction, those stable coins will be funneled out, and then you could turn them into anything you want, because at that point they'll be swappable. So this stablecoin issuance to infinitum also, along with the amount of smart contracts. So if you look at the end of this, it's going to be into the hundreds of billions of stablecoins issued along with the contracts. They're going to ride on the same rail moving across the scape of business and international goods flow. Again, where does it come in? Oh, blockchain state connects all back to QuickBooks. You're going to put your invoices for what I just described through QuickBooks. Isn't that interesting? Now, QuickBooks, so innocuous. Oh, it's just helping us with accounting software. Yep. Well, they're the forerunners right here with your digital smart contracts and setting up your own stable coins. And here's what it'll look like. You go to the Sinn Féin Maid Network, which brings us back to Sinn Féin again. Wow, it's all a circle, isn't it? And see those addresses down there. You're going to have your own address for the FedNow accounts, but this is an address specifically devoted to the creation of your stable coin and that smart contract. And you can go as many digits down as you want. I think they can go down 18 digits deep on this. So there's a lot of possibility for endless amounts of these contracts to be written, and it will be. You got to think about how much paper and paper contract is moved around the planet for insurance or finance or trade or whatever it is in today's world. It's just all going to be digitized so it can all be tracked and traced in real time. That's the thing we're moving into, but they need the contagion to be so vast and so nasty that they can move to this system. So as we come onto the break here, I'll continue with the spider webbing, but the building of the ecosystem is going to require, so far, Algorand and the creator economy has about 300 dApps that are out there. These are decentralized protocols to create, like I say, these contracts. These companies will scale as well. There's going to be more and more and more of them, but you're going to have to use their systems to be able to create these same contracts for business to continue. Now, will you need this if you're going to buy a used car from somebody? Probably. If we only have digital currency, you're going to have to issue a contract, digital contract, with the monies in there to be able to purchase a used car from a friend down the street. Because if it does go all digital, you will have no way to undo it unless you're using gold, silver, or some other barterable or tradable. You're getting locked in. They're going to know everything that's done. And what if they say, no, that what if there's a really big red button on that says that we nullify that smart contract and all monies within that nullified, and they get swept back over into a central bank somewhere? Would it surprise me if there's a backdoor clause that allows that? Not at all. It's probably built into the system already, although they're not so forthcoming with that, because that would spook you away from the new system that's supposed to be immutable. And we'll see where that goes. But Algorand is another one to look at with Sinn Féin X. And we'll be right back after the break here. David Dubine, Mini Ice Age Conversations. Stick around, see you in a couple minutes.